Okay, to continue, I'll discuss with you why social work considered is a unique profession. So what makes social work unique? First is that we focus on any problems or cluster of problems that are complex and difficult. Social work profession or social workers deal with multifaceted problems. When I say multifaceted, it is a series of problems that occurs in a particular individual. For example, a particular person uh, or the breadwinner of the family lost her or his job because of the pandemic. And not only losing the job is the problem, but it's the main problem. Other problems that might occur could be they cannot eat 3 times a day. Another is conflict with the husband and wife relationship, since um, the husband cannot provide the necessities of the family. Another thing might be that the wife will have an extramarital affair because she can see, or she can see a person which is much better than her husband. So those are an example of a cluster of problem or multifaceted problems that a particular individual can experience. So that is what makes social work unique. We do not only deal with one problem but series of problems in order for the client to become fully functional. Fully functional means he or she can provide the needs of the family. Not only that, he or she can match the needed resources for the family. At the same time, can perform different role expected of him or her. What makes social work unique is another thing is that we target the environment to which the client is a part. So we do not only deal directly on the problems or the cluster of problems that the client is experiencing, but we also target the the environment of where the client is residing, no, or interacting for the environment also to function well. So again, hindi mo matutulungan ang isang tao, ang particular individual, kung hindi mo rin tutulungan yung environment or kung saan ang tao or ang individual nag-i-interact or nakatira. No? So, again, say for example, if an individual commits robbery in a certain area, and people living there are also doing as such, if you are helping the individual become fully functional, such as you have given her or him an income generating project or an income generating activity, but still the environment is doing a deviant behavior, no? So again, pwede pa ring ma-influence yung individual kahit na binigyan mo na siya ng mga intervention. If you will not also look into the environment and try to also help this environment that he or she is living with. What makes social work unique? Social work is a unique profession because social workers advocate for their clients. It's between the client and the unresponsive system. When you say advocate, no, it's not on fighting, no, or engaging into troubles, but when you say advocate, you are fighting for the right of your client. Say for example, conducting protests, or social workers do lobby, no, a particular problem of a client or of groups to a government office perhaps, or a government agency, or a private institution. Say for example, people living nearby the river clamors for a relocation site. As social workers, one of the advocate, no, one of the specific function, no, as an advocate is that you can come up with a proposal or you can come up with a resolution, no, and present it to a particular LGU, no, and discuss, no, na kailangan na discuss and explain why these people living near the river needs to be relocated as soon as possible. So probably you can discuss because there is a threat and more people will also experience, probably, no, will die when landslide or mga floods will occur. So that is what we mean by advocate as a role of social workers. Another thing is that it emphasizes and adheres to core professional values. So we are unique because aside from it's a profession, we also have a particular code of ethics and we all abide in that code of ethics. And clients make important decisions. So in social work, we work with our clients. We do not work for our clients. Therefore, clients' decision making is very important and should be highlighted. Remember that as social workers, we are only guide. No, we are only guide, or a guide to our clients. We do not manipulate their decisions because that's their life. Okay? So, and again, we are not superheroes. So, very important ang decision making sa client. Very important in the sense that we respect the client, no, in his or her decision. So that's how, or that's what makes social work a unique profession. Okay, social functioning. This was discussed already, but I will try to continue elaborating this one. So social functioning, again, is one of the jargons that we are using in our profession. Social functioning is what results from the interaction between two forces. And what are these forces? The individual's coping capacity and the demands of his or her environment. So these are two distinct forces. Coping ng tao, tsaka ng demand ng environment. Say for example, I am the breadwinner of the family. That's the demand of my environment. The demand of my family is I am the breadwinner. And for example, if nawalan ako ng trabaho, therefore, ang coping capacity ko is mahina, very low. Because again, I am the breadwinner and nobody else can also uplift or sustain the family needs. So therefore, yung demand mataas, pero yung level ng coping is mababa. Therefore, hindi fully functional ang tao. That's how we view social functioning. Magiging functional lang ang isang tao kung ang level of coping niya tapos ang demands ng kanyang environment ay positibo. Okay? So, or kaya niya. The social worker's job assignment involves mediating or matching or striking a balance between people's coping ability and situational environment demands. So, ano yung very focus ng social work? Very focus natin is i-guide yung tao para ma-match or makuha niya ang mga needed na resources. Hindi lang ng tao, again, pwede grupo or komunidad. Makuha niya yung mga necessary or nila yung mga necessary resources na dapat, no, nilang makuha. At saka, sa pagkuha nila doon, again, fully functional pa rin sila. So, say for example, out of school youth as a group, they want to come up with an activity nga productive sila. Say for example, maghimo sila og mga banig. No? Gagawa sila ng mga banig. So, probably the eagerness, the interest is there, pero wala silang skills. So, social workers would intervene. Social workers would link these particular groups to a concerned agency na pwede makatabang sila para ma-enhance yung kanilang mga skills. Say, for example, the Department of Trade and Industry. No? Where social workers will refer this to that agent, will refer the particular group to the agency that then can help them. And through the acquired skills, hindi lang yung nagtatapos yung ni social worker, kundi meron din yung planning, no? At yung mga contract, no, ng human contract yung tinatawag ng mga social workers to a particular group para tuloy-tuloy yung kanilang progreso at makuha nila yung kanilang goal, which is to become productive. Productive perhaps means makakatulong sila sa kanilang komunidad, maiiwasan yung mga out-of-school youth, at saka magkakaroon din sila or matutulungan din nila yung kanilang family. So that's how social functioning is being interpreted. So social functioning, this results from the performance of various roles in society, like husband, wife, daughter, sister, student, citizen. So this is what I'm talking in the previous discussion, where social functioning, a person can be socially functional if he or she can perform the different roles that he or she has, at the same time cope with the demands of this role. Say for example, I am a wife and I have a daughter. So I'm also a mother. I'm also a teacher. I'm also a daughter of my parents. I'm also a sister towards my sibling. So therefore, these are the varying tasks or roles that I have. And as fully functional person, I have to make all of these roles, no, I have to see to it that all the demands given to this particular roles that I perform should also be kanang ko ano, I can cope up with it. So that's how social functioning also explains. So in here, this is a picture of socially functioning, no? Social functioning, matching person and environment, focusing on interaction between them. So here, a particular person interacts with the environment. So he or she is very productive, no? She helps the community in such a manner na kanang produktibo siya, nagplant siya. So that's how a person cope with the demands of the environment. Okay. So pie model or the pie perspective. Person has biophysical, health, cognition, emotions, behavior, internalized effects of the environment. The environment also have physical setting and time, socioeconomic, political culture or cultural context, primary groups, secondary groups. And in it, there are situations that can hinder or that can promote social functioning of a person, such as the actual situation and the perceived situation. Okay. So, when you say a person, these constitutes of our biophysical makeup, meaning to say physical characteristics. Health. There are individuals who are not fully functional because they have health problems like polio survivors or persons with disability. Cognitions. There are also individuals who in one way or another may problema sa mga pag-iisip, no? Mental disorder. Emotions. May mga individual nga low og coping. Like, ay, gamay ra kang problema. Nabagsak lang, ma-depress na dayo, no? So, there are individuals, as social workers, we need to understand na hindi pare-pareho yung level ng emotions ng tao. May mga ibang tao na low og coping, may ibang tao na strong og coping mechanisms. Okay? And we have to set aside our personal biases on that in order to come up with a good intervention towards our client. Behavior. Again, we have different behavior. There are people who more likely very introvert, na po extrovert. Introvert meaning he or she can work on his or her own, while extrovert is the other way around, adventurous. So we have to, as social workers, we have to understand this different behavior. And also, we are a product of our environment. So there are people na, oy, bakit noong araw very good in dealing with us? Bakit ngayon nag-iba yung ugali? So might be there are factors that presents or that makes the person kanang behaving that way. Also, may mga factor kung bakit ang tao ay nag-change ng behavior because of particular situation. When I handled a rape survivor client, at first, very accommodating, very friendly, but when she remembered the situation she is in, no, so meron ng mga manifestations of aggressive behavior, nanununtok, meron siyang humahawak siya ng kutsilyo, no, that is very kanang hostile na siya. So remember that person is also affected by the situation she or he is into. No, may mga tao na didepress another example is when we went to Palo Leyte during the Yolanda na Typhoon Yolanda na pangyayari. May mga tao na they said na sila before Typhoon Yolanda strikes, productive sila sa kanilang lugar, but after that they don't know paano sila magsisimula. So here, the actual situation makes the person behave in a particular, in such manner. So, hindi mo dapat i-judge yung tao based lang sa kung ano yung pinapakita niya, kundi i-base mo rin kung saan siya nanggaling. Ano yung kanyang mga hugot or ano yung kanyang mga reasons bakit siya nagkakaroon ng ganyung behavior. Perceived situation. These are mga views ng ibang tao. I will really strive. Halimbawa, I will really strive hard in order for me to become rich in the future. So, mag-aral ako mabuti or I will invest into business. So, those are perceived situation that also affects or influence the behavior of the person. The environment, physical setting, and time. So, if you have seen street children, for example, they're living on the streets, they're sleeping, they're eating, no? And they do their personal sa street, and this also they do not mind kung hugaw ba or madumi ba yung kinakain nila. So this also affects the behavior of the person. Kung ano yung nakikita niya, kung ano yung situation that he is or she is into, more likely yun rin yung kanyang mga influence ng kanyang behavior. Say for example, another example, why this person yung girlfriend at saka mag-boyfriend pa kami, very accommodating, very gentle, very genuine. Pero nung kami na ay mag-asawa, siya na ay nambubugbog. I am a battered wife. Because probably there is in history na nag-contribute sa kanyang behavior. So, as social workers, you need to background check kung ano yung mga history ng inyong kliyente. Another is socio-economic, political, cultural context. So, ano yung influence ng kultura, ng politics sa kanyang behavior. Primary groups, this talks about the family. Secondary groups, this talks about the external groups like friends, schools that can also affect the person's behavior. Okay? So, I already discussed this one. Causes of problems in social functioning. Why there are a lot of people who experience problems in terms of social functioning, or we call them dysfunctional. We have 3 categories or causes. First is personal inadequacies, second is situational, and third is both personal and situational. When I say personal inadequacies, this talks about poor physical constitutions. Meaning, merong mga nakahamper, may disability siya, and so on. Wrong attitudes and values. This talks about yung, ako ay isang mahirap, mamamatay rin akong mahirap. So, that's wrong attitude and values. Meaning to say that the person is more likely focuses on anong wala sa kanya rather than ano yung mga potentialities niya. Poor or unrealistic perception of reality. Poor unrealistic means this is related to wrong attitude. No? Like, wag ka nang, ikaw, babae ka, wag ka nang mag-aral kasi ano ka rin, mag-aasawa ka rin. Dapat yung asawa mo ang bumubuhay sa'yo. That's poor and unrealistic perception. Because right now, there is gender equality. Both men and women can also work. So, wrong perception. Ignorance. Not ignorance because the person cannot able to read and write, but ignorance in terms of he or she cannot access to equitable resources and even resources. No? Merong halimbawa, may health center sa kanila, pero hindi nila alam na ang health center ay nagbibigay ng libreng tulong o libreng gamot para sa nangangailangan. So that's ignorance in a manner of they do not know to whom to access with or what particular programs or services that can also help them. Lack of skills. Halimbawa, I am interested into tailoring, but I don't have the skills in doing it, and I don't have even the machinery or the equipment in doing it. So that is lack of skills. That's personal inadequacies. No? Situational inadequacies. First is lack of resources and opportunities in society. Lack of opportunities. Nakagraduate ka nga ng college pero walang yung kurso mo, walang tumatanggap or kulang yung mga ahensya na tumatanggap sa'yo, no? Or ng particular na kurso kung na meron ka. So that is lack of opportunities and resources. Existence of unjust or exploitative situation. Oo, may trabaho ka nga, pero underemployed ka. Hindi tugma sa kung ano yung natatapos mo sa pinapasukan mong trabaho. Say for example, I am a social worker, but I am working as a secretary of a particular agency. So that is job mismatch. Yung natapos ko, hindi tugma sa kung anong meron na trabaho ako ngayon. So that's exploitative or unjust na situation. Both personal and situational. So it could either be personal and situational. So that is why we need really to understand saan nanggaling yung kliyente before judging the person. Because again, may mga personal na hindi kayang gawin ng tao, hindi lang kasi tamad yung tao. Meron ding mga situations na nakahamper sa paggawa niya ng pag-achieve niya sa kanyang goal or both. So, social workers' efforts is to help the person adjust with and cope with his environment, at the same time modify or change his environment or situation, or both. So, halimbawa, yung rape survivor na diniscuss ko sa inyo. In the event, halimbawa nagsampa na ng kaso yung rape survivor, nahatulan na yung perpetrator niya or nagkasala, perpetrator is nagkasala, no? Yung perpetrator na hatulan na, again, ang isang particular na rape survivor, kung nandoon siya sa isang agency, hindi all the time nandoon lang talaga siya. He or she needs to be reintegrated to the environment. What do you mean reintegrated? Ipabalik. Yung ipabalik siya sa kanyang environment. But the environment is very cruel to the person, meaning may discrimination, may stereotyping, na, na-rape yan siya and all. Everyone knew about the situation. So, para yung tao, yung particular na individual na makapagsimula muli, pwede na ilagay siya sa isang environment na walang nakakakilala sa kanya, say for example, doon sa kanyang kamag-anak, wherein safe siya, wala nang posibleng occurrence of abuse na magagawa sa kanya, so doon siya ilagay. Or modify, or educating the environment of this, na bawal mag-judge ng isang tao na ganito yung situation kasi pwedeng mahatulan sa korte or sa ating hukuman, no? So, that's modifying or changing the environment. So, educating or advocacy and campaigns are also very necessary in order for the people in the environment as well as the government officials to know, no? To know how to deal with such issues in such situation. Okay. So, that is the explanation why social work is unique. At the same time, the the discussion of social functioning and person and environment concept.